Ebusuya memwakwa basonko kura do be PhD TV. Ebusuya na makacho se Ghana manyo sama etwegu. Eye hot political update na mede bedo mo channel yi eso. Sanso na sama hode fa papa na bo Kennedy akompre kunkunkun berma Ohene Agyapong ho de. Obenya ni hina e de fi channel we ya so. Inti na no first time ba channel we so mesre bo modern. Subscribe channel for mami na share video we for mo nua na onye bi nhwe no tede ekoso ewo o my Ghana. Itiam jiso eye Uncle Addo Ken. Ebusuya Archbishop Duncan Williams wakasa. In fact, oni Abronye nsensem no onkasa da. Weni the first time Archbishop akasa ade akire eye Abronye DC eni wona omokeka nsem ede fa na ho. Abronye DC ekokotena ni TV online TV esi ohia TV so ekokotwa bo Archbishop Duncan Williams dinatem style biebi e kan nsem ani kwan so oka MPP party no e baaye be ka se omode nsem waka no omunim ho hwe omunim ho maache nti ono a enso a eye na se nua Archbishop Duncan Williams be ka se no nsem waka ina na se osi Abronye DC ene wona o maka omunhwe ye efise ono no onkae kura no nkofo no mu di atem di asofo bi mu atem panyimfo bi ti so omo no atem no. In fact omo abrabo nsi omo ye. In fact omo endi ye kura se omo ebo brako endi amana ye kama ye successful debi omo entumi enya dem akonya ne bi enti se omo nim nipa omo ne dili a omo hwe ye na eye Archbishop Duncan Williams eno omo no edili no se otobo a no wahwe bebi a wotobo no ede afa na bia na bo na woto no ebekwa kokoto bebi a ano odin a wo emfa wo enkonkosi yie kura momenti Archbishop nsemo ka kire Abronye.
There's been a couple of social media posts in the past 2 weeks, one by a former High Commissioner of the UK to Ghana accusing you of certain things, and also some local politician also making some claims. His party has come to dissociate themselves from that. But since you're speaking to the media for the first time, do you want to make any comment?
I wouldn't want to dwell on it that much because I'm used to these kind of media misrepresentations over the years. This is my 47th year in ministry, and I've seen the outcome of such individuals. I think that people should not make any mistake that the fact that you attack people and discredit people and throw stones at others, and for whatever reason you think you are free, nothing has happened to you, make no mistake, it's a lie. I've seen the implications of these things. I've seen these kinds of people over the years and the decades. They never end well. And that is all I'll say. That before you throw stone at someone else, examine yourself. Because the woman that was caught in adultery, there was an error there. It takes two to commit adultery. But they left the man and brought the woman. That was the first thing there. Secondly, everybody had a stone to stone the woman. Jesus said, anyone among you who is not guilty of something and who is without sin, let him throw the first stone. And everybody dropped their stone and walk away. And I think that some of these things is the hypocrisy of the human nature, where everybody is guilty of something and yet they have the audacity to throw stones at others. So all I'll say to some of these individuals, before you throw your stone and cast your stone at me, please examine yourself, see where you stand. Because where I'm wrong and guilty may not be where you are wrong and guilty, but you are guilty of something. The Bible says, if the Lord shall count iniquity, who shall stand? So all I'll say here is, I've seen the end result of such individuals over the years, without mentioning names. All that I'm putting it out there and let it go on record, that there are implications for touching people and pointing finger at others. When you point this finger, the rest points at you. You know, one of the things I've learned about some of these social media's attack is the fact that whatever you pay attention to determines your direction. So I choose not to pay attention on some of these things so that it doesn't determine my direction in life. I think that the God factor in the governance of every country is very, very critical if we are going to do well. And most of the countries we look up to, whether it's North America or Europe, a lot of them have had history of having God in their affairs and in their governance. It's just that a generation has come up today that for the failure of fathers or parents raising them up with the knowledge of God, just believe that science and working hard and systems, it's okay, and they ignore the supernatural or spirituality. But I have zero tolerance for people who have no value and respect for the supernatural, for spirituality, because man is a spirit, soul, and body. And the reason why people die is because when your spirit departs from your body, you are finished, you are gone. The body don't function without the spirit. It's the spirit that keeps the body and the soul of man alive. So it's very important, and I think that the president should be highly commended for the boldness to declare a national day of prayer and thanksgiving, where prayers are offered to God, because in the book of Daniel, the 4th chapter, the 17th verse, the Bible says that all the living may know that the Most High rules in the affairs of men and give the kingdoms of men, not Israel, but the kingdoms of men to whomsoever he wills, chooses, or pleases.
Wow.
Yeah, I strongly believe that this is the moment, a Kairos moment for Africa and the church in Africa. And there is no revival without prayer. John Wesley of the Methodist Church said that it seems to me that God can do nothing until somebody prays. And Charles Spurgeon in the 18th century said, I'd rather train one man to pray than to train 10 people to preach. So there's something about intercession. The truth of the matter is that in the beginning, in the Garden of Eden, prayer was not necessary. It wasn't needed. But when man ceded his dominion mandate and committed treason, and decided that he would do better without God, and broke away from the principles of God and decided to be independent of God, and the enemy stepped in, prayer became a daily necessity, because man was the governor of the entire earth, and he ceded that dominion to the devil and made the devil the god of this world. So the devil rules this earth, and the only thing that overrides him is when prayer goes up. And when prayer goes out, it gives heaven the authorization to intervene in the affairs of men. Before that, that wasn't necessary. So prayer is a daily necessity.
Aware, Indian 79 and Archbishop Duncan Williams and Ankasakano. In fact, so was for and yes, Uncle Phoebe is almost Annie. Now, one, in fact, no more cake as Anson BT Sino. Omo ending no, Nenye, Momoye, and yen, Omoye. And he said, a bona water. She na hwe baby a woto bo no e de afa na wan hwe baby a woto bo no de afa na wan to ye na woto de fa wrong way and wrong direction ho be kire papa ti Archbishop e kire mu a Abronye ene sa nkofro mu kekeke kansam bi de fa no ho no e kansam enim e di na tem rofrofo no omo nhwe omo ho so ye ebusua media ha e yewura Kennedy akompre ko in Agyapong. Enti se wo ye delegate amesrew bo modern na ka kire onua delegate se ebere no duro nto abanfam ye wura Kennedy akomprekom berema Ohene Agyapong efiso no na Yesu Kristo anase Nyankopon obo no wiase ode Ghana ahye ne sa so mre no metentene oman no in disciplinary way emfa maye enti ye ne sa efma me na wo ya nyame ebehira wo midin e de ankrato makrao